What makes you say, though, that Rodgers is the best quarterback ever?
He's the best quarterback ever. Because, like, if we did, right, so if we were just putting things we want, characteristics we want in a quarterback, physical traits, right, if you was like, hey, long ball, of all time, you'd rank him in the top 5. Accuracy, of all time, you'd rank him in the top 5. Throwing the ball on the run, you'd rank him in the top 5. So as we would go down these quarterbacks and rank their physical attributes, there would be no quarterback that finished with a higher total ranking than Aaron Rodgers. We were just talking about what they can do with the football in their hands on the field. Now, that's just my opinion. I ain't always right.
Last drive of the game,
but
he's in the top 5 without.
Right. He just did 9 plays, 75 yards in a minute and 2 seconds.
So when I look at all those different things, no, I didn't say he was the greatest quarterback of all time. I think that's Tom Brady because I believe team achievement goes into that. No, I do. I think
it's like semantics of the words.
No, it's not semantics. I think it's two different. I think it's two different things. You can't talk about the greatest of all time and not include their team accomplishments or their contributions to those team accomplishments. But when you take a guy, you say, I want to put him in this place. If Aaron Rodgers plays in Cleveland, Cleveland is automatically a better football team. I would pick Cleveland to win games. And so just in that is what I'm saying. And we see these things time and time again. You're right. Green Bay didn't play well tonight. But at the end, they gave number 12 the ball. You heard D call him a bad man. They gave him the ball with a chance to win. And I've been in that situation. And you're legitimately nervous if you're playing defense. It's not like, oh, I'm going to play it cool. We've been here before. It's just the 2 minutes.
He's been here before,
it's like, golly, man. Aaron Rodgers, like, you legit shook. And I think you saw him drive the ball down the field and make the plays his team needed for them to win the game.
Got Odell with a broken ankle. Brandon Marshall was carted off in the second. They're saying that's just a sprain. Sterling Shepard, he has an air cast on his left leg. And Dwayne Harris, that's a broken foot. And by the way, they lost Marshall and Shepard on the same series. This is a problem for that team. Where do you even start?
That's a great question because coming into the game, the Giants were dead last in rushing. So now you've taken, three of your top weapons in the passing game out. This is going to be something that's going to be pretty tough to climb if you're Eli Manning in that offense because they've had problems up front. They haven't been able to run the ball. And now if you're Eli Manning, who are you going to throw the ball to? So you would hope in a situation like this that you'll be able to lean on your defense. But your defense is not even playing up to par as from last year. So this is a tough situation if you're a Giants fan.
Yeah, and you look back to even last season, add up scoring opportunities like field goal attempts and touchdowns. They were 30th, and you still had Odell Beckham have a tremendous season. I mean, all the problems they've had, he was still so important to that offense. Just getting to that point, they have so many issues. But yeah, with all these guys out now, we don't know how long Shepard's going to be out. You know how long Marshall's going to be out. I mean, they're going to be looking at the practice squad, free agency. Roger Lewis, maybe he's a household name next week. I don't know. They're going to have to. Maybe Amani Toomer comes out of retirement. They have to get the ball to
Mike,
somebody.
you might have to take
I'll do a tryout. It's not far. It's a couple-hour drive. I can go down and try out. But obviously, big problems. I mean, they're probably looking at a top 5 pick now this year. It's just a disaster.
It's expectations, as we of this Rams team. They're going to get down. Ryan, you came here. You look at what the Seahawks were able to do to quell them. What worked for this Seahawks team on the road?
This is what the Seahawks do. This is the Seahawks we have been used to seeing historically, or at least through Pete Carroll's tenure, that we hadn't seen this year. People were running through the Seattle Seahawks, and it looked like Seattle Seahawks escorts to the end zone. And so today you saw them stop Todd Gurley. You go back early on in the game, Todd Gurley has an opportunity to score. And Earl Thomas, we've seen him do this before, runs in, Gurley's reaching out the ball, knocks the ball out of his hand, touchback, Seattle Seahawks ball. That changes the game. That's another touchdown. That's another touchdown. You're down on an offense that can't score points at a rapid rate. And so that play can't go overlooked. And from there, it began to snowball. They stopped Todd Gurley. They made Jared Goff the focal point of the offense, and he wasn't able to make some of the throws he needed to. But you look at that last play, that ball's on the money. That's like Kirk Cousins. That's like Kirk Cousins against the Kansas City Chiefs. You're going to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs winning that game, the Redskins not scoring that touchdown, but it wasn't the quarterback's fault. And I feel the same way about Goff here. That's something to build off of.
Absolutely. And when you look at the Rams, everything starts with Todd Gurley. Mm-hmm. And what the Seahawks did was they made the Rams one-dimensional. And once you make them one-dimensional, obviously that works in your favor. And you said it earlier, The Seahawks, this year hasn't been able to do that. When you're able to just shut people down in one facet of the game, boy, that's when that pass rush starts to get after people.
No, I feel like this was like the first real Seahawks game of the season. Where
Yeah, I mean, this was the first time when I watched the Seahawks play that they actually looked like the Seahawks. So I think that bodes well. Now they got to continue that momentum.
They loaded up that defense in that offseason to make that a strength, and it came up big, and it goes into a bye week for Seattle. So I don't know if I don't know when a good time is for a bye week, but it's
all the time. But you want that momentum going into the bye week. That's exactly what you want.
Good point. How much is it? How much is it something, Damien, that they can fix as opposed to maybe a lack of talent, a lack of execution?
Well, I mean, if you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, really the MVP of that offense is Le'Veon Bell. They're only as good as when he's on his game. That's when that offense is humming. And again, the Jacksonville Jaguars, to their credit, they limited him to, I believe, 49 yards rushing. Put a lot of pressure on Big Ben to throw the ball 55 times. And the one thing that the Jacksonville Jaguars have a ton of athletes on defense. They've drafted a lot of guys high. They've brought in guys via free agency. So they've really made the Steelers one-dimensional, and because of that, that's what you saw the 5 picks by Big Ben, 2 of them for touchdowns. They need balance. If the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be the Steelers we think they're going to be, they need to have that balance offensively.
But this is coming a week after, the Antonio Brown didn't get the ball. There was the temper tantrum and all the talk about how he didn't want to be a distraction. And you said earlier, what's the #1 storyline going to be this week in Pittsburgh? It's going to be Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown. How much are you buying into something is not quite right in that locker room?
Well, I think there is something simmering in that locker room. Again, you had Big Ben coming on his radio show, I believe it was last Tuesday, talking about Antonio Brown. Anytime people start speaking out, I always said there's something bigger going on that we in the media don't really know. So I don't know what the dynamics are, but I suspect there's something bigger going on. Big Ben was targeting Antonio Brown a ton. And now I think that's part of the problem too. When you target one person a lot, teams usually have that tendency.
Two of his picks were on targets to Antonio Brown.